Alright guys, this is a video I've been wanting to do before the pandemic, but because of the pandemic, I wasn't able to do it. But I figured out that my dry cleaner really loves the way my clothes smell. So my dry cleaner really loves me. So I figured out some of the fragrances that my dry cleaner loves on my clothes when I turn them in to get cleaned. So today I've got 10 fragrances that my dry cleaner really loves on my clothes. So if you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, this is something that I thought would be a great topic, but before the pandemic started, I was just starting to realize that there are certain clothes that I turn in after wearing fragrances that my dry cleaner loves the way they smell. It's a woman, and I go there every once in a while, and my shirts, I guess, really reek of fragrances, and there are certain ones that she likes and certain ones that she didn't really comment on, saying like she hates them, but the ones I'm going to talk to you about today, 10 of them that she really loves when she's, putting the tags on them and moving them around, and apparently she gets whiffs of the smells off of my shirts and she really loves them. So these are some fragrances that have great lasting power, great longevity, and I think also as I was looking up the names of the fragrances, realized a lot of these fragrances are also pretty big with sillage, so they have great cloud. So I'll let you know what they are, 10 of them, but before I do, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So the first time I realized that my dry cleaner likes the way my clothes smell is she specifically asked me, what is that smell? As I was walking out, she said, there's a smell on here, what is that smell? And I had to grab my shirt and I actually smelled it, and I realized I had just started wearing MIZENSIR's For Your Love. And I said, that's the name of the fragrance. And this is towards the end of 2019 when I discovered this. I discovered it in Spain and I really loved it. But the thing is, with this fragrance, it's kind of sort of in that ballpark of Baccarat Rouge 540. So it uses different kind of like Ambroxan type notes, along with musks and some fruity notes and patchouli and benzoin. But either way, we'll start off with MIZENSIR's For Your Love. If you don't know this house, it's a fragrance house started by Alberto Moria's, well, I guess it started with him and his daughter, but I guess she runs the brand, and they're now sold at Lucky Scent. I just found out a couple months ago, which is cool because I had first discovered this brand on my travels to London at Harrods, and I think I also saw it at Selfridges. But this one came out towards the end of 2019, and that's when I discovered it in Spain, and I really loved it. Yes, it does kind of remind me of Baccarat Rouge, but it's a little different. It's a little muskier, not necessarily overpowering with the Ambroxan, but lots of patchouli and musks in there, and then some light vanillic touches from benzoin in here, but beautiful. Very sexy trail, an amazing trail with this one, and I think that's one of the reasons why she actually likes the smell of this on my clothes. And you know what? I agree with her. It has a great smell. After you've taken off your shirt, it's the next day and the shirt's like on the chair or something, you grab it and you're like moving it around. That smell is amazing, and that's what you get with this one. So that's MIZENSIR For Your Love. A great scent. It does remind me of Baccarat Rouge, but it's a little fruity and it's a little more muskier. And then speaking of Baccarat Rouge, I do have it. She does love this one a lot. She says she smells this on certain people too, but it's really strong on my shirts. And yes, I agree. This is a great musky fragrance with that Ambroxan note in here, but according to KURKDJIAN, it's not Ambroxan, it's Ambergris, but I believe it's maybe like light touches or traces of Ambergris in there, but it's a lot of Ambroxan with Saffron, Jasmine, Fir, Cedar, and Almond. I do like both of the versions of this Baccarat Rouge 540. This is the Extrait version. As I said, it's a little stronger, definitely has longer lasting power. When I wear this one, I do get noticed quite a bit more than the original. And then also, when I wear this one, similar idea with the MIZENSIR For Your Love, when I put it off and I come back to it the next day, and I'm gonna either like, you know, hang my shirt or put it somewhere or take it to the dry cleaner, I could smell it, like totally, literally smell this one. And it smells really, really great. And this story with this one, I didn't care for it. At first, I hated the smell. I think I just didn't like what it was, but I'm obsessed with the way it smells, and I think it has a great trail, great longevity. It smells sexy, and is a head turner kind of a fragrance. Either way, this is one of the fragrances that my dry cleaner really loves on my clothes. So that's Baccarat Rouge 540, the Extrait version. And let me go back to MIZENSIR For Your Love. I didn't read you the notes. There's some proprietary notes in here. Exaltone, which is a musk. Cachalox, which is an alternative version of Ambroxan, obviously, like not Ambroxan, Ambergris, so it's similar to Ambroxan, the raspberry, benzoin, and patchouli in there. I do like to always mention notes in fragrances. This next one, she really loves. I guess she's a patcho like me. This is Psychedelique from the house of JOVOY, and recently I featured this in a video of fragrances that are my most favorite fragrances. If you haven't caught that video over from Saturday, please go catch that. It was a video on, you know, 20 of my favorite fragrances for several years that I'm really in love with, that are a lot of my favorites and what I still think about them. But JOVOY Sacadelique is a great, slightly boozy, chocolate cakey, vanillic, you know, ambery patchouli, but it's loads of patchouli, lots and lots and lots of patchouli. So it's earthy, it's woody, there's a little sparkliness in there. But in the end, it's very chocolate cakey, boozy, vanillic, ambery patchouli. A great scent. This stays on clothes for a long time. You can totally smell it. And I think that's one of the reasons why she loves the smell of this. Turns out she loves patchouli. But she also likes musks, apparently, because a lot of the fragrances I've spoken so far are kind of musky, but more of the synthetic kind of ambergris, ambroxan type musks, rather than like the deer musks and things like that. She didn't react very positively to something like Musk Ravageur, but she really loves patchouli. So that's JOVOY Sacadelique, a great, great scent if you don't know it. Now this one she really likes. This is Ombre Nomade from the house of Louis Vuitton, and I think it stays really a long time on clothes, and I think it's probably one of my most favorite from Louis Vuitton. I really, really love this one. I think I like the oud, even though it's synthetic. I like, you know, the woodsy notes, the resinous notes in here. There's a little bit of saffron in here. There's some raspberry, amber wood, geranium, but a great scent, a great, great scent. Ombre Nomade is probably, I wouldn't call it an over-the-top beast mode, but definitely call it beast mode, you know? There are certain fragrances outside of the designer's world that have beast modes that like could crush this one with its own beast mode qualities, if that makes sense. So in the end, it is intense for a designer fragrance because it is long lasting, but I've experienced a lot more intense beast mode fragrances. But really a great scent. I think it's a great designer oud. Again, once again, it's a Western oud, so it doesn't have the kind of like realistic oud smells, the Middle Eastern kinds that also kind of can get funky and smell animalic and things like that. But a solid fragrance. But I like the way this one settles, and especially on clothes after you've slept and you've woken up. As I said, when your nose is like not overwhelmed with scents, you can smell scents a lot easier, and this is the kind of experience I have with something like this. If you've put it on your clothes and you woke up the next day and you're like kind of like moving your shirts around or your clothes around and it's on there, you can totally smell it. And I think that's the way she reacts to this one. She really loves it, apparently, to her, and I guess it's a great one to try. So if you don't know Ombre Nomade, go check it out. It's from the house of Louis Vuitton. So this is one of the earlier ones that I discovered that she likes. Similar time with this one, For Your Love, from MIZENSIR. This is Hindu Kush from Mancera. So this one, it's interesting, the actual you know, the way it smells on its dry down. There's lots of muskiness about it, and even though it's focusing on cannabis, something about this one acts and doesn't act like true cannabis smell. There's not a huge camphoric kind of bitter green earthy kind of smell in there, but the combination of the notes is very, very musky and very sexy. And in the heat, when you're wearing this one, the trail is fantastic. And just similar to other fragrances, when this stays on clothes, when you've sprayed your clothes, there's a really sexy leftover scent the next day, or you know, when you come back to it after your nose is kind of like relaxed from smells and things like that. But a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. Features incense, cannabis, spices, woods, and amber, but beautiful. A gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. Very, very sexy. Garners lots of compliments and a fantastic trail. And again, the next day on your clothes, it smells really, really wonderful. And that's what I like about it. Hindu Kush. If you don't know it, it's from Mancera. Also, stay tuned tomorrow. It's 420. And I have this one featured in a video, Hindu Kush, so stay tuned for that as well. The next fragrance that she apparently really, really likes, and this is around the holidays that I wear this one, but it's, of course, as I said, last year it was the pandemic, but towards the end of last year, late summer, I started taking clothes back to the dry cleaner, and she started telling me of some of the fragrances that I like, and I tell her and this and that. You know, I take her a little samples to test out and see what she likes. But this next one is from the house of Tom Ford. It's Tobacco Vanille. A great, great fragrance. It smells great on clothes, you know, after the next day that you've worn it. But it is also a great fragrance on its own when you're wearing it. It has massive cloud and things like that. Big trail, projection. And it's got good longevity as well. It just smells beefy, you know. When you smell it, it has a beefy fragrance, not a wimpy smell kind of a thing. But Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille is a, you know, a hyped fragrance, community-loved fragrance. I recently did a comparison of this one to Vanille Havane. If you haven't caught that, go catch that. But this one's known for tobacco, vanilla, spices, cacao, tonka beans, dried fruits, and woods. But a solid, solid release. If I had to pick one fragrance that probably sells the most for Tom Ford, it's either Tobacco Vanille or Oud Wood, I think. Maybe Tuscan Leather followed by those two, but probably a distant follow. I think those two fragrances are probably the most popular in this collection, and it makes sense. Tobacco Vanille is great. It's really, really a great fragrance, and I love to wear this around Thanksgiving. I think it's just a great holiday kind of smell, and I love the combination of the ashy tobacco with the vanilla and the spices. So that's Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille, a great fragrance that apparently my dry cleaner really loves on my clothes. Okay, I was surprised at this one, but I guess she likes rose and fragrances. This is Montblanc's Black Oud, and another fragrance that is beefy. You know, the word is like loud. It's a screamer kind of a fragrance. It's not a wimp. Compared to some fragrances, you can totally smell it like from a distance. And it smells great on clothes. And I think what the deal with this one is, the rose smells great, the oud smells great, the patchouli smells great, the musk smells great, and the labdanum smells great on this one too. And the combination is great. I think for me, mostly it's about rose, oud, and patchouli. Patchouli is always really sexy, and the combination of it with the oud and the rose is top-notch from Montblanc. And it's not necessarily a syrupy kind of fragrance. It's more of a dry experience, but there is an ambery touch in the base, and it does get a little woody, ambery, and musky, but a really beautiful, beautiful fragrance. It stays really, really long on clothes, and it garners compliments, those folks that really like it. And it does have a great, you know, projection, and then the sillage for this one, the cloud, it's great. It's a sexy trail that you leave behind, and people react positively to it mostly because it smells great. You know, it's a great smelling fragrance, and apparently my dry cleaner really likes the smell of this one. So that's Montblanc's Black Oud. If you don't know it, definitely check it out. There are other similar fragrances like that out there, but the combination of those notes together, however much they use the rose, oud, and patchouli, it really works wonderfully together. So the next one is from the house of Guerlain. It's Guerlain Mysterio, and I recently featured this one in the same video that I featured, which did I feature? Psychedelique over the weekend. If you haven't caught that video, go catch it. It's 20 of my most favorite fragrances. This one is more of of a recent fragrance, but there was like an original version of this fragrance. Very difficult French name. I won't say the name to butcher it up right now. But with this one, Bois Mysterio, it's lots of myrrh, leather, cedar, cumin, bay laurel, patchouli, neroli, jasmine. A great fragrance. Really lots of resinous touches, which is, you know, kind of sweet and you know, balsamic at the same time, and then contrasted with lots of leather in here. So it's it's animalic. It has some rough edges kind of experience, and some people hate this one, and a lot of people love it. I absolutely love it. It's very dry once again, and one of you was asking me about dry fragrances too. I'm working on that soon, but this is a lot, very masculine. It's a very masculine offering, and it stays on clothes forever. It's really beefy and strong, and for a designer or a house like Guerlain, it's really intense fragrance experience for something that they would offer from their, you know, from their roster of fragrances. So I'm really digging this one, and it really does smell great. It smells great off of me, has a great trail, and it lasts on clothes forever. And I think that's one of the reasons why my dry cleaner really likes this one off of me, or off my clothes as well. So that's Bois Mysterio. If you don't know it, do look it up. One other thing about this one, I do like it layered with some rose fragrances that are not too complex, so it enhances this, and it kind of goes in like a portrait of a lady-like direction with all the spices in here, and then adding that rosiness. Again, not an overly complex rose fragrance, one-dimensional, simplistic. Soliflores are even perfect for it as well, because this is so complex, and then you'd have to kind of like figure out what amount of the rose to spray with this one so that you can have a great combination. But I have done it. It smells great. Anyway, Bois Mysterio from the house of Guerlain. The next one I'm going to talk to you about is the Labo Another 13. This one actually amazing trail, and even though a lot of people complain it doesn't smell like anything, on clothes, man, it smells great. And she says it smells so sexy, she says. Just something that she really likes. And again, it's not anything like the other fragrances. This is more of a minimalistic experience, but on clothes, it is really sexy apparently to her. But Another 13 from Le Labo is all about Ambroxan, oak moss, ambrette seeds, jasmine, citruses, and fruits. And the Ambroxan and the oak moss and the ambrette seeds combination is amazing. Ambrette seeds are so sexy. Ambrette seeds have a light fruitiness, has a light booziness, although I don't get much booziness in this particular combination. And then there's a slight medicinal touch as well, and it's really musky, and it's a great substitute for true deer musk. They don't smell alike to me, but I think it's a great alternative either way. And I love anything with ambrette, and here it really makes it really sexy. And apparently on my clothes it smells really fantastic. So that's Another 13 from the house of Le Labo. And the last fragrance that she apparently likes is another patchouli fragrance. This is from the house of Diptyque. It's Tempo. And this is a very green patchouli, and it has mate, clary sage, violet leaves, pink pepper, bergamot, and it is a very sexy fragrance. And in fact, there's two other fragrances to me that are similar, and I wasn't sure which one she was actually liking, but I took samples to her of all three fragrances, and she apparently thought this is the best one out of the three. But the other one that I think is similar to this is Orage from Louis Vuitton, and then there's also Vetiver Patchouli from Montal. But according to her, this is the one that, you know, stays on clothes the best. I don't know, maybe she wasn't able to select the correct one, but I think either way, I think it's a great fragrance. It's very sexy. It does have a great trail, and it does have great longevity on clothes. I mean, it has a pretty decent longevity on skin, but on clothes it smells really fantastic. Either way, that's Tempo from the house of Diptyque, and that's the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today. 10 fragrances that my dry cleaner loves on my clothes. So I don't know, have you guys gotten this kind of a reaction from your dry cleaner? Let me know, put a comment down. I mean, now every time I go, we discuss fragrances. She's apparently planning on buying a bottle of this, but she doesn't she doesn't spend too much money on fragrances and things like that, so I took her a decant of it. But she really loves fragrances, and I think she loves seeing my clothes come in and smelling the next great fragrance. So maybe we'll do another video like this in the near future at another 10, but for now this is what she likes out of all the, you know, fragrances that I've worn on clothes and things like that. But let me know if you've had this kind of a reaction, not only with a dry cleaner, but maybe somewhere you take to get your clothes altered or something and they've reacted positively to your clothes. And we don't have to stop there, and maybe just to, you know, get compliments from people when you're walking around. Let me know what fragrances get you compliments. Put some comments down so I can find out. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. If you have any video ideas that you want me to, you know, cover, send a question to lfsgquestions@gmail.com, and I can either get back to you or feature your question in a question and answer video in the near future. Other than that, guys, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.